Hey everyone, it's Becky with Be Your Best You Coaching, and we're back again today to talk about how to host the most amazing graduation open house without losing your mind. So this is part 2 of the series, and today we're talking about one of the most important parts of your open house, and that would be the food. Yay! I always get excited about food because I was in a basically food slash kitchen tool industry for about 17 years, and so food is my jam. So anyway, but let's just talk about all of the different ideas that you can do with the food at your open house. There are so many things you can do, and you can spend a lot of money on it, or you can do it with a decent budget. And so one of the first things that I always have done, as you know from the last video, I've hosted many open houses. And so one of the first things, especially when we're dealing with our kids and doing graduation open houses, first of all, what are the things they like to eat? You know, for us this year, we're doing the Chick-fil-A nugget trays because my son loves Chick-fil-A and would eat there every day if he could. And he actually used to work there, but that's beside the point. Anyway, so we're doing Chick-fil-A nugget tray, we're doing barbecue, lots of other things that I'll get into. But find out what your kids like and then kind of incorporate those things. But just some ideas. If you want to pick a theme for your food, you can very easily do that. Maybe you want to do a nacho or a taco bar. Super simple to do. You have the chips, you have the shells, you have your meat, you can do ground beef and chicken, and then have all of the toppings. And that goes over really well. And if you wanted to, you could even throw in maybe some bags of Fritos and do walking tacos to make it simple for all of your guests to just walk around with their little bag of their walking taco. And so those are always a big hit. You could do a barbecue theme or a cookout theme. You know, where you've got someone manning a grill, they're making burgers and hot dogs throughout the day, and you can just have the different sides to go along with that. You could have potato salad and baked beans and coleslaw and chips and just simple foods that you would have at a normal outdoor cookout. That's a great thing to do. However, you do have to have someone to man the grill, so that means either getting a volunteer or assigning that duty to someone who doesn't mind, and maybe they could take shifts so that, you know, throughout the time of your open house, someone's not having to be stuck at the grill the entire time. One thing that you have to think about with that, though, is what about weather? You might want to make sure you have your grill covered, you know, with some type of shelter. Maybe have it in the garage if it's going to be raining. So there are lots of things that you can do there. What about a lot of people just have like the little deli sandwiches. You can have those pre-made just with the little slider buns. I always go small when we're talking about open houses because people are going to be coming and going, and you know, in our area there are going to be tons of open houses on the same days, and people just basically get their schedule and they pop around from open house to open house. So you just want little things of food. You don't want big, huge sandwiches and that kind of thing. But you could do the little deli sandwiches on slider buns, and you could do them cold, or you could have some, you know, where you can put them in a baking dish and actually bake them so that they're hot and the cheese is melted. And then you can have a separate tray, multiple trays with condiments. So just, you know, on your sandwich tray, it's just meat and bun and maybe cheese. And I don't even know, like for the hot ones, I would definitely go ahead and put the cheese on, so those are nice and melty. But for the cold ones, I wouldn't put cheese on because not everyone eats cheese. But then with that, you can still go with the simple side dishes, you know, chips and pasta salad and potato salad, and just really it's whatever you want to do, you know, whatever you guys like. And so that makes it really simple. You can do a brunch theme. I've been to open houses before that have a brunch theme. It's done earlier in the day. Actually, you can do breakfast and brunch anytime. It doesn't matter. But specifically, this one was before noon, and they just had all kinds of different breakfast casseroles, danishes, bagels, fruit, different things like that. And that went over really well. And so you can, just donuts. You could have a donut pyramid or something. But you can do lots of simple things like that. You can have a barbecue feast where you have pulled pork, barbecued pulled pork or chicken in crock pots, and you can have your slider buns off to the side, and people can just come and make their little sandwiches. Again, you can have whatever kinds of side dishes you want with that. Again, it's just super simple. In the past, I've loved to do just a bunch of different appetizers. The meatballs go over super well. The little smokies, those little sausages in barbecue sauce go over really well. Just having veggie trays, cubed cheese, just fruit. I love to have fruit with maybe some fruit dip on the side. All kinds of different things that you can do that way. But I always like to have some healthy options because, think about it. We're going from open house to open house, and you need to have those healthy options because not everybody is into the sugary, sweet foods and fatty foods and things like that. So for those people who prefer something lighter, you've always got those veggies as the backup. So, but let's talk about dessert. Yum. Okay, so you have to decide, are you going to have a cake? That's one of the main things. A lot of people have cakes, and but if you're going to have a cake, you need to know, are you going to have other things to go along with it? And don't be like me with our very first high school open house. We had cake and a bunch of other things. Well, I bought a huge sheet cake. We had cake for days. Let's just say we had cake for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Not really, but we had a ton left over. So rather than being wasteful and having a ton of cake left over, finding people to send it home with, go for a smaller cake if you're going to have other things. In the past we've had, you can make cookies. Cookies are great because a lot of times you can make them way ahead of time, put them in the freezer, and have them ready. So that's another thing that's already taken care of. And who doesn't love home-baked cookies? So that's just something that's super simple. Like I mentioned in my first video, I do chocolate dipped strawberries. Those are a huge hit. Again, they are time-consuming to make, and they go over very, very quickly. So just a little tip on that. Make sure you don't put them all out at once, or they will be gone, and the people that come toward the end of your open house will have no strawberries. Things like cake pops and cupcakes, different things like that are super simple to do. Cake pops, I would probably buy them if I were going to have them rather than make them myself. Those can sometimes be a little challenging for people like me, I guess. I don't know. Maybe you have a great cake pop recipe that you love, but that's just another cute idea. I've been places where they've had a candy bar. Just all kinds of different little candies and set up in glass jars. They look really pretty, they're colorful, and then there are little candy bags that people can go through with scoops, and they can scoop out their own little candy to take with them as a memento and different things. My daughter begged and begged for a chocolate fountain. So I wasn't really excited about the idea of a chocolate fountain because they can be messy. So you have to be strategic as far as where you place that. But they are always a big hit. And you can have all kinds of different things as the dippers. You can have fruit like strawberries and pineapple, all kinds of different things like bananas. You can do marshmallows and pretzels and angel food cake. And you can just have, those all sitting around. But again, like I said, you do need to be strategic about that as far as where you place it, just so that it's easy to reach, so that people are not having to reach really far, and just have to watch out for the drips. Okay, so best to either be outside or on a hardwood floor, definitely not on carpet, not a good idea. But as far as your drinks, always, always, always have water. And the other thing I want you to think about is, again, we talk about people who are going from open house to open house. You don't need full-size drinks. Like bottles of water, we like to get the little ones. like the little 8-ounce bottles. Those are perfect because people are just going to grab one. They can drink it while they're there. They can take it with them. And you're not, how many times do you have all of these full-size water bottles that get thrown out after they've been halfway used? So go for the small ones. Having big drink containers of lemonade, iced tea, those go over really well. If you want to have soft drinks, you can always do that. People will set those up in coolers outside, as long as the weather is working for you. You can always have really whatever you want. I try not to mess with 2 liters because then you end up with all of these 2 liters that are open and go flat and things like that. I'm just never really a big fan of 2 liters, but I usually try to stick with just the water, lemonade, and tea, just to keep it simple. So hopefully these tips have helped you a little bit. And if you have your own ideas, I'd love for you to post them below. We can all share our information, and it's just a great way to brainstorm as busy moms and just to take the pressure off of each other and just to be there to support each other. So I hope you'll come back tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to talk about decorations and things to do at your open house. And so there are just so many things to cover when it comes to an open house. And so I just want to make sure that I'm here to help you in any way that I can. So if you have questions, comments, anything, make sure you pop those out to me, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.